Uh-oh. Man, there we go. Oh, that's us.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, no.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, it's Paige and Lacey.
Good morning, it's Paige and Lacey.
Good morning.
Okay,
Lacey
great.
are-
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you all.
Welcome, everybody.
Choose background.
All right. I'm gonna move all my.
Mike Aragon. I used to live next to Mike Aragon. Need to introduce you guys.
Are you sure it's the right Mike Aragon?
It's the other one.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, everybody.
It's Friday.
Whoop.
Oh, look, Paige. Where are you?
We are in a what are we?
We're in a team building.
Yeah, like a team building, and we're painting. Actually, I could just hold it up. That'd be more logical.
You want me to?
Painting signs.
We're painting signs.
Way to go, Paige.
No.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey,
Fun.
John.
Feels like a party over there. I like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Good mix of folks.
Hey, we're inching up numbers here.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks
for hanging tight, everybody, while people log in. Super excited to hang out with all of you. Hey, Madison.
Oh, hi.
Well, that's not Madison, I suppose. On the phone.
Aw. Look at she's got a little friend there. A little tiger.
Aw.
Hi. Hi. Okay, well, what do you say? We're at 9:02.
Let's do it. Let's get rolling. Thanks so much, everybody,
Let's dive
for
in.
joining us. This is going to be fun. You have made it to the second session of AIM for Mental Health, which is going to be our process to promote well-being in all your schools. So great to see all your faces again. Just a couple, before we dive in, just a couple of reminders about who we are and why we're here. We're the Center for Rural School Health and Education. My name is Ben. Carla Leckie, you're going to be hearing a lot from her today as well. And we're here to build plans together. Our second of 6 sessions here. So first, go ahead, Carla. The first thing we want to talk about is that, again, we're on Zoom. So just wanted to start with a couple of our norms here. We'll be muted when we're in this big room because what do we have here? 90 folks is a lot for one conversation. So we'll be muted when we're in the big room, and we'll be using that chat to talk to each other. Also, it's great to see your faces. I love to see all the faces I'm already seeing this morning. So if it's safe to turn it on or put your kids on, we love to see faces. So turn on your videos if it's safe to do so.
I was going to say, we have at least one big fan of Zoom on the call. I can tell, which is awesome.
The other thing that we'll do is, just like last time, we'll be using the chat out to the right there. So we'll do a little warm up in a moment to get your fingers ready to be using that chat. And then also we'll rename ourselves. Again, we use that information to put you into breakouts and to ensure that you get your stipends. So we'll be using that format of put your name in there and then followed by your school district. Savannah and Kat, once again, are going to be helping out by renaming you. So they'll be working away, but if you can help them out by renaming yourself, if you know how to do it, that would be great. This is we got, oh, thank you, Carla, for sharing this. If some instructions for how to rename yourself. So let us know if you need any help with that. Okay. Now we get to do our icebreaker, which is super fun. The days are getting shorter. It's fall. So Today in the chat, we're going to share favorite thing about fall, what you're looking forward to in the fall season. Just as a little proof of concept that we do know where the chat is and we know how to use it and to learn some great things about fall. Look at that, Halloween, cold weather. There we go. No more bugs.
No more bugs is huge, but cold weather. I just envy y'all who love the cold weather.
Oh
'cause
yeah,
I experience so much of it. And
escaping the heat.
boots.
Wearing those
Okay,
boots.
I can
Yep.
get behind boots big time.
There's the
And hot
Yes.
drinks.
there's like a meme of the Han Solo outfit that everybody wears with the vest and the high boots. Nice, awesome. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. This is great. Pumpkin pie blizzards. I need to get into that. I know about the pumpkin spice latte, but not pumpkin pie blizzards.
I think that's a Dairy Queen thing. Am I right? It must be. It's a blizzard.
Okay, nice.
Aw.
Awesome. Yeah. Very nice. Dairy Queen. Just Dairy Queen. Awesome.
doesn't?
Thanks so much for sharing, everybody. This is great. Wood fire's on with that. I just split a face cord the other weekend here. I'm ready to go.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on. We
Go
good?
ahead. Thanks so much for sharing, everybody. So great to see you all. And excited to be working with you here on this.
Yes, ditto to that. So we're just psyched to have you all here. It's always fun to see your faces and be together for these 90 minutes. So just a reminder, I told you we were going to see this every time, and I'm going to hold to my word. So the goal of our process, Aim for Mental Health, is to strengthen the well-being of all students in our schools. And so for the next 90 minutes, we are going to continue what we started last session by moving closer toward that goal. We've got a super fun agenda prepared for you today, so we're excited to get into that. But before we do that, let's just look at the timeline, because I think it's helpful to see kind of where we are, where we've been, and where we're headed. We are in that second meeting, that green circle, so you can see we're kind of in the thick of things. So far, we had meeting 1, so that was awesome. You completed your first youth advisory team meeting, which I want to give a shout out to all of you who did that. Congratulations. That is a really awesome achievement. So congrats to you all. We're going to actually talk more about that here in a few minutes. Staff and student surveys already were taken. We're going to have reports for you on those next time in meeting 3. And then the staff survey is coming up between now and next meeting. So that's going to be administered coming up here. And what else do we have? I guess that's it. You can see where we're headed. We're getting to that plan for youth well-being. We're going to look at that also today, and moving on. So updates since we met last. Like I said, you had that youth advisory team meeting. So really quickly, if you could just put in the chat a thumbs up if you were at all involved in coordinating, facilitating, or part of a youth advisory team meeting. Yay, Angela, awesome. Great. Oh, this is so cool to see. Awesome work. Super exciting, y'all. Does anybody want to share? I'd love to hear how it went. If anyone has feedback or thoughts, or just like a reaction to how that first meeting went, drop that in the chat. Or even, can I say take off mute and just share really quickly if we can do it fast? Nice. Food is critical for those meetings, so that's great.
Good
Kids
call,
had
Kelly.
lots of
Sounds like-
feedback. Nice. Food is important. Good work. I'm glad to hear that kids had feedback. That's super cool. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for doing that. I know that this isn't going to be perfect going out fresh out of the gates. So just thank you for getting out there and trying it and going for it. I'm really, really happy that it went well, and excited for you all to share with your teams more on that. Another quick thing is grant funds. So you probably already know this, but there are grant funds associated with this process and with this, what we're doing together. So you may have received an email. Just wanted to give you a heads up that those funds are there. There's $8,000 for the year. Now, keep in mind, some of that is probably allocated already. So just check in with your wellness coordinator But I did want you to know that those funds should be available pretty soon. And so that may play into your conversations. Again, there's 3 buckets that you can basically spend the money on for this grant. One of them, of course, is youth well-being. So the work you're doing with your youth advisory team and the work you're doing here in these meetings. Also staff wellness qualifies, and anything related to family school partnerships. So wanted to let you know about that. And then the last thing that happened between last meeting and now is that our Crush Elves, ELVES, have been busy at work. And we actually have your first installment of your district plans ready for you. You may have seen an invitation from Ben or me to get into Google Drive. Maybe you've even already been in there, which would be wonderful. We're going to look at those more closely, but I wanted you to know that those are in process, and hopefully that gives you some momentum here. So to know like where all that information is going. So did I miss anything, Crush folks? Or does anybody have questions about what's happened since we were here together last? Okay, we are just going to keep on moving forward. So we are, as we go through this process, building each time we're together. So I wanted to give you a quick recap of what we did last time. You'll remember we went over the AIM for Mental Health process and really dug in on what we're doing together, where we're headed. We also introduced the PERMA framework. So who remembers what PERMA stands for? Go ahead and drop it in the chat if you remember.
Yeah, do any of the P, the E, the R, the M.
Oh yeah,
the
any
A.
of those letters. Yeah, what's P? Come on, I know you remember.
Positive. That's true. Positive something.
Yay! Good job,
There you
Aaron.
go.
Okay, positive emotion. Nice.
There we go.
All right, how about E? Very
Nice.
good.
Madison ahead of the game. Yep.
All right, moving on to R. Relationships. Oh, you are
Race,
on
fast.
fire. Good job, Ben.
Can you tell where we're headed? M. There we
No,
go. Adriana's first to go on the M.
I was like, oh my God. Don't
An
even think
A.
about
Yay. Okay.
And A. Nice.
Great job. Thank you for that. So positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. If you didn't know that, that's okay. By the end of today, maybe you will. We also worked on visions for well-being. So like, what kind of outcomes do you want to see from this process? What are your big dreams for your school and your students? And then remember, we talked about how do we actually strengthen well-being? And we looked at how we can do that as individuals working on our own well-being. We talked about how relationships, how we can do that in relationship with others, and how critical that piece is. And then we also talked about how the structures at our school can support well-being. So when you have all those 3 things in place, you can really have a holistic view and program to support well-being for students. And then finally, you had some time in your groups to talk about all the cool things you're doing. And I tell you, it was really fun to look through those forums and see all of the amazing ideas that were coming through from you. So thank you for that. So speaking of that, I want to talk quickly about feedback. So thank you for filling out those evaluation forms. We really do read them and it helps us a ton. So thank you for doing that. One of the things that I wanted to share was we had some folks requesting, people love the chat and love the ideas that you all share with each other. And so there were a couple of people actually that were like, how can we access those ideas after the meeting? Can we somehow save the chat, or where can we preserve those ideas so that we can come back to them later? So I want you to know that we love that idea. We are going to work on a way to do that. We want to make sure that we keep the chat so that everybody feels free to just share in there. But we would love to have a place where we can share your ideas and that you can go in and access them when you want. So we're going to work on that. And hopefully by next time when we're together, we'll have some more on that for you. But in general, love the breakouts, love time to talk to each other, which is great news for us because we'll be doing lots more of that as we move forward. And then also longer breakouts. Folks wanted to spend more time in breakouts. So that is also coming. Okay. I think that's all I got. Now, what are we doing today? Well, we're doing the welcome and intro now. We're just about done with that. So we're going to move into next talking about Google Drive, getting in there and accessing your district plan. So Ben's going to give us a run through of that so that you all feel confident getting in there. Then we're going to have time for your first breakout. And we're doing 2 breakouts today because we have 2 really distinct things that we're trying to do. In the first one, we want you to have time to share what happened with your youth advisory team, because that is so important to check in with what students are thinking. And are we progressing? Are you progressing in the way that, because you're collaborating with them, right? So we want to make sure we have time to talk about that. You'll also have time to get into that plan and revise and edit it based on that feedback that you have received. Okay, so that's breakout 1. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about PERMA practices. We're going to look at those. We're going to have, that's going to be like a exploratory time when we just get to have fun and play with those ideas and learn and listen to what students have shared with us. And then in breakout 2, you'll have more of an opportunity to do that alongside your planning team members. And then we'll come back and wrap up. We just have one thing to do between now and next meeting, which is administer that staff well-being survey. So we'll give you some information about that before we leave today. Okay, anybody have questions? So we're about to move into content. All right, Ben, I'm going to pitch it over to you, I believe.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So I'll stop sharing. Or do you want me to stick it? Leave it
yeah,
open?
why don't you stop sharing?
Okay.
That'd be great. Thanks.
All right. Oh, there's everybody.
Yeah, here we are.
Love that. You can see so much better when I'm not in presenter mode. Okay. Are you pulling it up?
Yeah, here we are.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just give a little bit of a tour of the AIM for Mental Health dashboard. We call it a dashboard because it's got a lot of stuff. Kind of, if you envision yourself, you know, driving a spaceship as one does, you got all the controls and all the visuals right in front of you. So this is one space where you can kind of see and access all the critical information for what we're doing together. I'm going to give you a little tour, and then we're going to be sharing it so that you can be digging in as we do this first breakout. So bear with me while I demand your attention while I do this more structured tour. So first, this is a picture from Carla Heredia's backyard in the San Luis Valley. And out left here, you'll see these little triangles. These triangles are toggles, and you can open each one to see what's underneath. So the overview, this is helpful information about really overview of what we're doing and how our work is structured together. Under that district planning team, if you're on the district planning team, as you are because you're here and you're curious about what does it mean to be on the district planning team, here's some helpful information about that. If you have heard about the youth advisory team or engaged youth advisory team, here's where you find more information about what the youth advisory team is. And if you're a youth advisory team coordinator, you've got your coordinator guide right here under that toggle. Moving on, the virtual meetings that are a part of this process, we're storing the information from these here. So we're at the second of these meetings. So if you open this toggle, you'll see that, oh, we've completed the first meeting. I wonder what's under this toggle. Look, it's the agenda from last time and then a video here of the previous recording. So we'll continue to do that, updating the agendas and embedding videos as we go so that those who weren't able to be here can catch up. So that's what you'll find here under this virtual meetings toggle. And then we've mentioned those student surveys and staff surveys. Key info on those is under here if you keep going on those toggles. I won't spend too much time on that because we're all doing such a great job with the student surveys. Really appreciate everybody's cooperation and participation in that. And then that school personnel survey is coming, so we'll hear more about that later. I'm going to hang tight on this section. We'll be exploring that later, but I did want to flag for you down here at the bottom, we have a calendar, and this shows how we're progressing along. We've already recruited our planning teams and youth advisory teams. We had our first ECHO session. You, over the last 2 weeks, had your first youth advisory team meeting. And then here we are today at the second ECHO session. And then you can see next week we've got that school staff survey, and this will keep going. So if you wonder if you're supposed to be doing something or where we are in the process, this calendar is a helpful way to see that information. And then over here up right, this is the kind of the core organizations and partners who are part of this initiative. And then importantly, we have this this toggle right here, which is school district files. So if you open up this toggle, you'll see all the participating school districts here. And then if we were to click on one of these, I've already been in contact with Kendra so that I can look at the McClave plan. Thank you, Kendra. We will click on one of these, and it's going to take you to a Google Drive folder. So as Carla was mentioning earlier, we shared with you yesterday access to Google Drive folders, so each of you can access your district's plan. In this folder, we've got just one file so far, and we'll put other files here as we continue to partner together and as we need to put more files here. But right now, you're just going to see one file, and that is the template. So here we have McClave's template plan for strengthening youth well-being in their school. Again, I'm just going to do a quick tour here to kind of get a sense for how this template works, and then we'll have some time for you all to dig in on your own. We have a nice table of contents if you're curious about what's in there. But broadly, it's, we've got a background about what youth well-being is and why it's important. Look at that. Kendra's in there. Way to go, Kendra. Who is involved? That's the planning team, the youth advisory team, how the plan came together, information about the district. And then on this one here is where we are actually going to have some of those responses from the first forum you completed. So I'll scroll through this. You'll all see this. This is kind of boilerplate information. We know it's helpful to have kind of a backing and clarity on why we're doing what we're doing. So this is for you to use if you want to ground what you're doing in the literature. We've got a link to references here too. The planning team, you'll see a roster of the planning team here. McClave has already populated theirs. Most districts, I think this is not populated, and we can help you populate that as we're going. And then same with the youth advisory team, that roster. So, who is engaged. I'm going to zip ahead to page 6. So remember, this is kind of how we're going to work together. If you give solid information in those forms, we're going to be able to populate these plans and make sure that as we're meeting, we're pulling these plans together. So you can I just wanted to give a sense of what's in that first one. And now transitioning forward, we're going to be able to have you all dig in and see and edit what you've done. I know many of you reached out and saying like, hey, can I get access to the information we submitted? And here it all is. So as we're going, we're going to keep punching information from those forms into this plan, and you can edit, revise as we go. That is all I wanted to share at this moment. So I'm going to stop sharing. See all of you.
I guess I'll also just welcome questions if anybody has something that they're curious about or question about what Ben was just saying. Just drop that in the chat and we can maybe address
definitely,
it now.
Yep. One thing I didn't say is that we've got, you'll see in a lot of those things that there's little boxes that say coming soon. That means that those sections of the plan are going to be populated based on responses in our future meetings. Okay, everybody's got their fingers poised and is so excited to click through to the dashboard and to open a forum for the breakout group. So I'm going to prep you to do that right now. Kat, thank you so much for dropping that in the chat. So you'll see now 2 things dropped in the chat. The first is a link to that Aim for Mental Health dashboard. That's what I was just showing you. And that's where you can access your plan, is through that link. The second link there, where it says breakout form, that's the breakout form we'll use as a guide for discussions today. And at the end of this session, you'll submit one breakout form for each school district, just like you did last time. And you'll complete only that first section of this form during this first breakout. So again, stop at that big hand signal. Your goals during this breakout are to first just spend time learning how your youth advisory team meeting went, what students had to say about the vision and how your school already supports well-being. And second is to open your district plan and work together to revise the information on page 6 of that plan. So you may want to add more items to what you're currently doing, or you may want to make changes to your vision based on what the youth said. And then if you can't get into your plan, or you can just request access. That's a quick, easy way. And then I'll see, either I or Carla will see those responses come in, and we'll be able to grant you access. It may take a bit. So if you can't get into your plan today, don't sweat it. We don't want you to waste your breakout group time just trying to access the plan. So just follow the prompts in the breakout form and work through that. Use that as a structure for your conversation today. There's also a place where you can let us know that if you're having trouble with the drive. If that's the case, and we will just reach out to you between the meetings to make sure we get that sorted. Okay, we're right on schedule. We're going to come back together after this breakout at 10:35, so about 10 minutes for this breakout conversation. And we'll send you out to meet with your districts. Again, you can raise your hand if you're having an issue or you want us to come in there. Anything else, Carla, before we send folks off?
No, I think we're good.
Great. You'll see that agenda for the breakout right at the top, but this is the thing to hold on to.
Oh, I know what we could share. We're going to make sure you have at least 10 minutes in these breakouts, so don't worry about that. But you may try to share a screen. It might be easier for you to have a conversation if you do decide to get into those plans. So you could try that when you're in the breakouts. Also remember that your chat feature is available in your breakout, and only your group will see your chat. So feel free to use the chat. And we think you can share your screen in the breakout, fingers crossed. So that might help you as well. Does anybody have questions before we send you off? Are you feeling good? Okay.
Great. Have fun. Don't forget to have fun.
All right. See y'all in a little bit.
Hey Ben, there's something in the chat for you.
Hopefully that we know there's going to be some bumps in this road. So thank you for rolling with it. And I promise if you are having issues, we're going to help you get all those worked out and we'll figure it out. So thank you for being flexible and yeah. Okay, Ben. People are still coming back.
Welcome back, everybody. All righty. Now we're at full strength. Welcome back, everybody. Well, that was fun, right? It was fun for me. I hope it was fun for all of you. We've got this time and space reserved for just experimenting and trying to access it. And this is our first go. And, we're not going to freak out if we don't have access right now. You'll just always be in contact with us and we'll be sure that everybody gets access as soon as possible if there are any glitches that came up in your first conversation about this. Hopefully you had fun conversations about your youth advisory team. That was structured time for that. It's not like you have to be done talking about your youth advisory team at this point, and you have to be done with all those sections of your plan. But now everybody's in there and most people are in there and have access and can make some edits accordingly. Sorry, I'm in the wrong spot here.
I was just going to say, if anybody, any takeaways from your youth advisory team that you want to share with the big group, now that you've had a chance to kind of process that a little bit and talk about it, how was that for your conversation? How did your talks go? And I'm having a hard time seeing the chat, so anyone want to share? Or if you want to just take yourselves
Thanks for
off
sharing, Misty. Misty was generating ideas. Students are eager. That's great. Students are always eager, I think. Do this. Yeah, excited, surprised. That's good to hear. I can share that I got to visit in the rooms that I got to visit. I was excited to hear about what conversations were had and excitement being generated at the school district. So thanks for those of you who I was able to talk to. I was mostly dealing with glitches though.
Nice. That's great. Good to hear that the students are engaged and they've got good ideas. That's so awesome. Well, we're going to talk a little more about youth engagement after we take a short break. So we're going to take we've been here 45 minutes. So we like to give ourselves a 5-minute breather to get up and stretch. I think that we can go ahead and start that break. Yeah, Ben, unless there's something else you want to.
Yeah, I think, yeah, let's take our 5-minute break. So we'll reconvene at whatever 48 plus 5 is. 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. Math is not my specialty, but we'll convene at 10:53. We'll get going again. So
Awesome.
stand up, stretch, move away from your computer. This keeps us fresh. So that's a strong request from this is my.
All right, I'm going to start bringing people back from our break. Hopefully you got a chance to get up and stretch and move a little bit, maybe take a deep breath of fresh air outside. I think that's my favorite thing to do when I get a chance. Looks like people are coming back. Okay. I think I'll just go ahead and dig in. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, everybody.
Thanks for taking that break. Okay. So in this next section or the next half of our meeting, we're going to dig in a bit more on this concept of youth engagement because centering youth voice is such a key component of AIM for mental health. And it's like that for good reason. As I'm talking, I invite you to just share your thoughts in the chat. I know you all as educators and people who work with young people all the time have a lot of knowledge on this subject. And I would just love for you to be able to share your own thoughts and just how what we're talking about resonates with your experience. So the first thing is when we talk about youth engagement, really the way we're thinking about it throughout this process is that it's fundamentally about including students as partners, as collaborators in this work. So in the case of building your plan, we have this huge challenge, right, of figuring out how to support and strengthen well-being. This is such a complicated issue. It's difficult. And the truth is we just cannot do that without students because they know, right? We're trying to make changes, we're trying to support them. And so we have to make sure that we're doing it with them. So like linking arms and going in and digging in on this work together. So it's about elevating youth voices, truly listening, and then working together to make the kinds of changes that we all want to see. So it's about youth, right? But it's also about us as adults, as the adult partners in the work that we're doing with them. Okay, so in addition to just making sense and being a good practice, youth engagement has a host of benefits. And I want you to be aware of this so that you're really confident as you do things like meet with your youth advisory team. For example, students benefit from positive social and emotional outcomes, and this is all based in research, improved learning and academics, an increased sense of belonging, positive relationships. And honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg and what this can do for youth and positive youth. And then when it comes to the initiatives themselves, so thinking about your plan, incorporating youth perspectives is going to help with the buy-in and support that you need for it to be successful and the uptake of the initiatives that you're trying to implement. So does that make sense? Does that resonate? Does that feel like, yes, kind of get where this is going? Okay. So what about AIM for mental health? Well, you've already experienced one key part of this, which is that youth advisory team. So I'm going to keep saying it. Congratulations. This is such a huge deal. And I'm really proud of you all for jumping in and doing this. At our next session in 2 weeks, we're going to see reports from the student well-being survey. So that's another piece of youth engagement, right? And so we're coming at it from these multiple levels because we want to bring in as many voices and as many perspectives as possible to be able to hear and incorporate those many different ideas. Because each student, it's not like we have a group of students, right? We have many unique individuals with many unique perspectives. And it's by incorporating all of those and listening to all of those different life experiences where we really get a plan and an approach that's going to work. So I'm really excited to tell you about the third way that we are centering youth throughout this process, because we have this incredible list of practices that are all connected to PERMA that were generated by students in your schools. That is so cool. So just take a second to realize, like, that's amazing and really exciting. And I cannot wait to share with you this list and to have you get in there and like really see and learn from those students. So we conducted focus groups last year, and thank you for that, because without your help, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So it was you all in this room, support from your schools, that we were able to convene those groups. So here's what we did in a nutshell. We invited students to participate in a focus group. We had 109 students participated. They came from schools in the San Luis Valley and in Southeast Colorado, so both areas. And we asked you to consider a broad range of students to participate. So we had a really diverse group of students with variety of experiences in life and different perspectives to bring to that conversation. They came from grades 7 to 12, and 16 different schools had focus groups. Now, those students, with the support from our facilitator, Tonatsin Rabal, and also shout out to Robin, who did some groups as well. Those students came up with 510 ideas. And so what we did was we went in and we said, or Tona said, how can your school support you to achieve these different dimensions of PERMA? So for example, how can your school help you experience positive emotion? What about engagement, relationships, and so on? So we get each dimension of PERMA addressed. And through that process, they came up with 510 different ideas, which is a lot of ideas. So the next step was to sort those all out. And we did that by putting them into categories and looking to see where we saw patterns. And what emerged from that process was 18 strategies. So these are the big categories to support well-being. Cool, right? So the first thing I think we all need to do is just express gratitude for your incredible students who were willing to share their ideas. So, because we would not have any of this without them. They were put their ideas out there, talk to us for trusting us. And now as adults, we get to take this information and try to put these things, or some of these things, into practice, right? So they've given us this great list, and I want you just to, hopefully you could see it. It's kind of tiny. It's kind of the best I could do because there's so many. But maybe just like read through this list if you can, hopefully. Put your glasses on. I've got my reading glasses handy for things like this. And just, what do you notice as you look through this list? What stands out to you? Anything? First impressions. Or maybe you've seen this list before, so you're going on second or third impressions.
Hey, Carla.
Oh, yeah.
This is Michelle. Hi.
Oh, hey, Michelle.
I liked the spend more time outside. We did our group last week. That's what they were saying too. They want to be outside.
Isn't that amazing? And we all are in such beautiful places. I don't blame them, really. And I tell you what, even just when I take these little 5-minute breaks, just stepping outside and taking a breath of fresh air, it just feels so good, even a short amount of time. Thank you, Michelle. Connections. Yes. Relationships. Tona, feel free to chime in here, because Tona, I had the privilege of listening to these focus groups and coding them and organizing them and really listening. And so these strategies that you see here are the work that we did at Crush to make these kind of like what buckets are we talking about? relationships came up so much across the board. And it came up in every dimension of PERMA. So relationships, I mean, I just feel like if you focusing on that connection, time to build those relationships. So you'll see relationships, and probably in every single one, there's an element of relationship. So when we talked about engagement, they talked a lot about having like collaborative time in class or working in groups or having partners. And again, you've just got that relationship piece. It's right there, so close to engagement. So yes, relationships, being outside, downtime. Oh my gosh. Yes. That was a big one. Tona, I don't know if you want to chime in on that, but there was stress, right? They feel like there's a lot going on in their lives, and having a minute or 5 or 10 to just relax and breathe and have space, that came up a lot.
Yeah, I think students, they felt like they needed that time, even if it was, a little bit longer of a lunch period, because it seemed like, even that free time was a very kind of rush time to get through what they had to do. So just a little breather time, for them to be able to just kind of regroup and get some fresh air.
I see fun in this list. Yes, fun. They want to laugh and they want to goof around with their teachers. They want to have moments of just like being silly and having a good time together, not related to school. They valued the connections that happen. Of course, they know that school is about learning too. That came through also. But they also value you all as people and each other in the interests that you have outside of school as well. And we're just wanting to connect on that level of just fun and community. Okay, this is great. And so the next thing we're going to do in these next breakouts, this is the focus, is really to give you time to explore these strategies in more depth, because the cool thing here is that it's not just this list of 18 that you get to look at. Because remember, these are the buckets that we came up with when we listened to their individual ideas, and we kind of like sorting, okay, this kind of goes in this bucket, this goes in this bucket. But their ideas are available to you as well. So I'm going to show you now how to get there. Okay, so Ben just gave us that helpful introduction to the dashboard. And I'm focusing in here on one of the practices, because this list of practices, of course, is in the dashboard. Maybe you've already seen it. Everything's in the dashboard. And next to each of those strategies, there's one of those little toggles. And if you click on the toggle, it will drop down a list of the things that students actually said. Okay. Now, these aren't necessarily word for word what they said, but it was basically what they said. Does that make sense? So you could just click on it again, it disappears, click on it, and you can see all these. So you kind of think about them as examples for the strategy. Okay, and then over here on the right, I'm going to draw your attention to those numbers, okay? The numbers tell you how many times that item was mentioned. So lots of numbers, lots of kids saying it, lots of focus groups bringing it up. So we didn't sit there and say, what do you think of this idea? What do you think of this idea? This was open-ended conversation. So unstructured time, free time during the school day came up 8, 3, 5, 2, 1, 3. Well, add them up. Because each of those numbers represents a different element of PERMA. Okay, now if this is confusing, just hang with me, because I promise once you get in there, it's going to start to make sense. If you hover over these numbers, it's going to show you what PERMA construct it came up in during the conversation. So I'm going to give you an example. Tone is having a conversation with a group of students. She says, tell me, what do you think your school can do to support positive emotion or strengthen and bring more positive emotion to your day? And if I look up here at the top, where you see those numbers, 8, 3, 5, 2, 1, 3, that first one is actually positive emotion. I know that because I know this list. It came up 8 times under positive emotion, unstructured, this idea, okay? And the one I'm hovering over in the example, offer breaks or free time throughout the school day, when Tona asked that, or the facilitator asked that to the groups, 2 times it came up under the conversation of how can we be more engaged? How can we boost engagement? That makes sense? All right. Well, we're going to head back. I think, Ben, do you want to show them how this
Yeah.
looks in the dashboard? And then we're going to go to breakouts. And your goal during these breakouts is to just get in there and start to explore. So quickly, Ben's going to show you, and then we're going to get you back into your breakouts. Okay. All right, go ahead, Ben. I'm going to stop sharing here. Take it away.
Alrighty, so this again is the dashboard. It's your favorite place. You go there every morning, I'm sure. This is the information we haven't really dug in on yet. The info, so you have here info on PERMA. This recounts some of the information that Carla just went over about where this information came from in those focus groups. So if you're interested and you want to see some pretty graphs, you can dig in there. But I'm going to focus on these youth ideas to promote well-being. Here you see a list that is identical to the one Carla shared. And if each one of these little triangles again is a toggle. So if I'm to stick with Carla's example, if I'm interested in providing unstructured or free time during the school day and I want to see what ideas kids had to do that, I just open this toggle and then I can see where these ideas came from and how they might contribute to these different ideas of PERMA by hovering over each of these. So what you're end up seeing is in the category represents the aggregate of these ideas down below in the toggle. So it's this is, I don't know, I think it's a pretty fun way to interact with this info, to be able to explore what ideas kids really had and how they constitute the category and how that category might help lead us toward these dimensions of PERMA. One thing I'll also flag is that there's an other category here. We also just asked kids, these are the 5 elements of PERMA, but also what other ideas do you have? And so those ended up in that other column. So for each one of these, you can toggle across positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, accomplishment, and other. And if you want to see this information as a database, if you do better with the table, you can do that too. But it's just a little clunkier, in my opinion. Some people like that.
All right.
That's all I wanted to share there. Yeah. Back to you, Carla.
Thank you so much for doing that. All right, we're going to head into breakouts. I'm going to give you a quick overview. You do have that Google form, so you'll be able to get in there again. Sorry, I'm just looking. It looks like I'm looking away from my screen because I need these 2 things up to be able to share my screen. I'm not an expert at this. But... Okay. All right. Here we go. So you're going to get into your groups. We really want you to have fun. That's the goal here. There is no pressure. You're not making any decisions. This is about exploring, playing, getting curious. So just toggle around in there, have conversations. We give you an option to just kind of check the things that right now are percolating of interest to your group. So you can remember that when you come back, or so that's in the Google form. The other thing that we would like you to do is just find one thing in that list that, based on your role, you want to try out. Because we want to make the point, like, well-being is not something we have to wait for a plan to do, right? Well-being is something that we can all work on a little bit. And no matter what you do or how you interact or what your role is, you have a way to support well-being. So find one strategy that you just think, hey, this sounds fun. And then we'll get to kind of be scientists, piloting ideas and seeing what sticks and what resonates and what feels good to you, because this is something that you want to keep doing too. So just come up with one idea that you want to try out between now and the next time we get together in 2 weeks. We're also asking if you could just identify one person from your group who's going to be the staff liaison for your planning team. That's just the person who's going to be able to make connections with the staff between what you're talking about here and the staff's needs and goals and input. Okay, so identify that person. I think that's it. Have fun, enjoy this, and remember these ideas came from your students. So yeah, I just hope that gives you inspiration. I think we're ready to go into breakouts. So anybody have questions while we're waiting here? I know some of you had trouble with breakouts last time. If you are here on your own, we're going to put you probably already know this, you'll be with other people who are on their own too. So you can have conversations together with people from other districts. All right.
Sabina, how are you? Izzy, way to go.
We're back. People are going to trickle in here for
This
next
is where you
minute.
can tell we're cutting people off, you know.
Yeah.
There we go. Here they all come.
All right. Welcome back, everyone.
We can't see you.
Can't see me. Can't see
No.
us.
No.
Maybe try clicking on your Zoom icon if you can see that on if you're on a laptop or on a computer.
I see you.
All right.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. And sorry if we cut off your conversation. We do want to make sure we get you out of here in the next couple minutes. So I'm going to say really quickly, and then Ben's going to start talking about the staff survey. We'd love to see if and what you want to try out. Just drop it in the chat. I think that'll be inspiring to others to just what kinds of things are you curious about? What kind of things do you want to try out? Just to kind of do a little experiment with your own role and where you're at when you deal and work with students. So that would be cool. I also want to acknowledge that Tabitha, thank you for your comment in the chat, is such a good question about how do we get buy-in for this when there's so much that schools are doing, so much that we're working on. So I promise we're going to get back to that question because it's such an important one. And I think a lot of people have that on their mind. So Ben, you could start talking.
Yeah. So thanks everybody. This has been a super fun day. So just moving forward, we usually have something for you between each of these meetings. That's kind of a critical to-do item. Last week, it was engaging that youth advisory team. This coming week, it's going to be focusing on administering a staff survey. So what's going to happen is we'll be sending an email to wellness coordinators and superintendents at each school district, and you'll just forward that email to all of your staff. The survey will stay open for a week. It's anonymous, and there's an option for participants to punch their email address in there, and they'll be entered into a raffle to win one of several $50 gift cards. The main thing that you need to do to help is to first coordinate who is going to forward the email from me to all of your staff, and two, to encourage people to participate in that survey. And just help them know that, you know, it's real. It's from a real organization that really cares about our school district. And again, that'll be coming to your inbox on Monday, the 23rd. So this coming Monday. And if you're curious, you can preview the survey on the dashboard. That info is available there. So be on the lookout for email from me with the survey. Carla.
Awesome. I think that's it. Reach out to us if you have questions about that. Of course, we're always here to support you. Here's the map of your TA providers. So if you're not quite sure who the person is to reach out to, this map will help you. So just find your district, look for the color, and that's the person on our team who you can talk to. I mean, you could talk to any of us really, but this is your technical assistance provider. Okay, everybody have a chance to look. All right, we've got 1 minute left. So just our reminders. Kat just put a link to the evaluation form in the chat. So if you have time and want to just let us know what you liked or what didn't work for you this go around, that would be helpful. staff well-being survey, be on the lookout. Please don't forget you also to take it. This is an anonymous survey. It's just going to be used. We'll be looking at this data in a few weeks down the road, but we know staff well-being is a critical piece of this work. So we really want to hear how your staff are doing and what we can do to support them through this plan. Okay. And that includes you all to take that survey as well. Our next meeting is in 2 weeks, same time, same place. We're going to be looking at your student survey results, and we're going to coming back to this list of PERMA practices. In the meantime, you've got the dashboard, you have us on email, you have each other, right? So thanks so much for being here. We're going to stick around, but we want you to be able to get on with your day. So we're going to close up this side of things, and thank you so much. You all are amazing. Thanks for all the things you do every day for your
Thanks so much,
students, for your
everybody.
school.
Thanks
Have
so
a
much.
wonderful weekend.
Have an awesome weekend. Don't hesitate to reach out with questions.
Yes, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay? Y'all are awesome.